It's long-winded Wednesday. It's long-winded Wednesday.
It's long-winded Wednesday.
That's sweet. I like that. We're always trying something new. That was like such a loud laugh. I feel like I've had 25 different laughs.
I thought you were gonna say you had you've had 25 different copies. Like that is our life.
I have also. I've lived an entire life since 7 a.m. today. I never do that. Never.
It feels like it's been a whole day.
And you know, we've done some things. We've drank some coffees. We bought some plants. Marin, entertain the people so that I can go get Rita and show them because she's a star.
Okay, y'all. Just wait a second here. Jenny is a new to being a plant mom, and it's really cute to watch. How proud. Yeah.
Lovely Rita girl. Do. Hey, pay attention to the green. Oh, look at that.
Look at those
the
textures.
Pink. Look at that pink detail. Can you see it in the camera? Bruh.
I love how they're like, and this one's going to, test you a little bit. They need distilled water.
Love it. And this new pot, white and gold. It's all on brand. It's all on theme for my room. I'll show you another day. Yeah, I had to start off with that. So, Marin, how are you feeling right now?
How am I feeling
right now? Yes, emotions check-in.
I'm feeling pretty calm and centered right now. As you said, it was an early morning for us. But it's been a solid 24 hours of just feeling good. And yeah, I'm good. How are you?
What kind of good though?
What kind of good?
Pink emotions card, bro. We gotta demonstrate for the people.
Right. My bad. My B.
Have you seen Freedom Writers?
Yes.
And the teacher is so cringy. She's like, my badness. And the whole class
I probably said that at one point in my early career as a teacher. My badness.
You were the Freedom Writer teacher.
Well, there was an element of saviorism in my procedures. Okay. What kind of good am I? I'm feeling, like I said, centered and grounded, like a good of just, we went and were filmed for a documentary. Who knows what's going to happen of it, but it was really cool to just sit and be asked questions around just, are you comfortable to talk about race? And what do you feel is necessary in race relations in 2020? And to be able to kind of clearly share out and integrate all that I've learned in a way that I don't think I've really realized I could do yet. I mean, I've been able to do snippets, I think, but so yeah, I feel very, very in my purpose right now. Cool. That kind of good.
Still no emotions, but that's okay. Let me demo for you. That's all.
Why is this hard?
I don't know. Because
I'm feeling satisfied.
No, that's telling because I feel like we rarely use the emotion cards for good emotions.
That's good. True. Oh.
When people are feeling good, we don't really ask them to expand, or I know I don't always as a facilitator.
I'm gonna look at it.
But there are sections on our emotion cards that are for happier feelings.
So satisfied. Is satisfied one?
Yeah, satisfied is one of them.
I'm really getting called out right now.
I think, let's see what I can remember. I definitely feel excited. I feel aligned. I feel connected. I feel seen. Because yeah, we were doing a little bit of this documentary, which we heard from someone named Magenta Freeman. So Magenta, I don't know if you're watching this. Hello, and thanks for inviting us in. The documentary is in the works. It's around racial equity in the US. And it was really, really cool to see Marin do her thing. Like, I was excited in the moment. And then afterwards, like, yeah, I saw you just integrate a lot of what you already know. And just from what I know about you as being your friend and co-facilitator, I know sometimes you can feel insecure about how you word things and if you're clear. And you were so clear, dude. It was like all connected from what I heard. So that was really cool because it showed me that you must really be integrating this. If it's
well, and I wrote it out too. That helps.
You did what you had to do, and it fucking worked.
I
was
myself
like,
out.
yeah, standing ovation.
I can tend to do like the spirally windy, like I'm over here and then I'm over here, and then I finally get clear on what I'm actually trying to say, and I get self-conscious about that.
Oh, so she gave you the questions beforehand?
Yes, she did. I didn't realize you didn't get the emails. I could have set you up a little better, but
it's okay. I'm I love improvising.
you did great.
But
Yeah, the rest of us had them more set up.
Yeah, because the person we were talking with, she asked like such good questions, and it was about like, how comfortable do you feel talking about race? How did you come to that feeling? How do you bring others into talking about it? Like questions that we dialogue about all the time, but to be able to reflect on that in an interview style was really telling of like where I currently stand on what my role is and like racial justice and all of that, and what I want to tell the people, which has changed over time. What I said today, especially pertaining to non-Black POC, my role as a Latina, that is something that I was not comfortable speaking about 2 years ago for sure. So it was cool to be able to bring up new layers of conversation.
Yeah, satisfied in the blue peaceful. I don't think.
Oh, you're back on that.
I am. I do that too. I'm going back to where we started. Happy. Yeah, I feel like maybe I'm not in peaceful happy, or like when I'm asked, sometimes I'm not. I don't know those as well. But yes, confident, confident, strong, free, inspired, valued. I like that you said connected.
Love it. That's how you use the emotion cards. We were testing you to see if anyone would call Marin out, but no one did, so I did. That's why
she's
that's
here.
why she keeps me around. Yeah.
Someone's gotta keep me honest.
So yeah, reflections. The morning started off great with that. What are some other reflections you've been having around diversity, equity, and inclusion? And yeah, that whole thing.
That whole thing that we do, think about every day.
That buzzword. We've done so many things. We've done so many workshops. We've done a DEI Beyond the Buzzword with Colorado Nonprofit Association. Shout out to y'all. We love you. And we've done affinity groups. We've done uprooting white supremacy. We've done racial battle fatigue and self-care. We've done individualism versus collectivism way back.
That was a long time
beginning
ago.
of the pandemic. We talked about the pandemic and how COVID-19 is affecting us and how that relates to DEI. We began our whole public training series. Just Marin and I on Zoom, writing notes on a whiteboard, pajamas and all. Groundwork was born. Before it was groundwork, we could not think of a name for it. It was like the 101.
We went back and forth forever.
What is it? A
Foundation?
Racism 101?
No, we got caught up on if it's groundwork or groundworks.
I was like, what if people start calling it groundworks when it's called groundwork? I was so afraid of that for some reason. But it ended up being fine calling it groundwork. And I think it fits somewhat with the theme of liberated, uprooted, and eventually rooted. But what are names anyway? It's more important that the vision that we had, it's there now. Because I know I didn't ever want it to be feel like a 101 class, in that it's like, this is white fragility, and this is privilege, and this is oppression, and only that. I wanted to give them a taste of our approach. And I feel like people are getting that. They're getting in 2 hours.
Most people are getting it.
Of course. Don't focus on the negative.
I'm just saying, not everybody likes it, and they've told us.
Okay. Whoever sent that feedback form tomorrow.
It's still a little hard. I'm moving through.
Yeah, and like getting people, that is a huge reflection of mine. That our approach is so powerful in terms of keeping a small number of 20 to 25 people. That's a big, it's like the core of what we do, that number. And if we were just willy-nilly like, sure, we'll take 30, sure, we'll take 40, sure, we'll take 3, you don't get the same experience.
Mm-hmm. I just can't believe it's December of 2020, y'all.
I also keep water here a lot of times during Long-Winded Wednesday to continually try my hardest to make space. Just a little fun fact. Make Space, Take Space is a group norm of ours, and it means if you talk a lot, try to make space, and if you don't talk a lot, try to take space. So since being friends with Marin, I've noticed that I talk more than Marin. So I'm trying, I'm not the best at it, to make space. I'm taking a lot of space right now, but I wanted to tell her that I keep this water so I can take a long drink and give her time to think and jump in if she wants.
Aww, thanks for naming that and for thinking of that. Yes, that has been a reflection of ours, or just like we've been learning how to navigate that, just even in terms of process time. I identify as someone who is a slower processor, who can't always say all the things in the moment, like Jenny can. Look at her face.
She said that so lovingly. I was like, okay, she. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. Yes. You can confidently just say all the things. And I can too in
bullshitting. No, just kidding.
No, I would say I can to an extent, but there's definitely times where I'm like, and that's what I've learned. My ability to sit in silence is I have a long capacity for that.
Yeah. And that is one of the pieces of magic of our approach as well, allowing the silence and allowing people to sit in it. Via Zoom, it's been weird, y'all. For me, it's been weird. I'm just like, wow, I can't, because in person, in the silence, it's like I feel the presence of people more. I feel the energy in the room. People are pensive. People are sitting in something uncomfortable that was just said. People are smiling because something amazing was just said. Via Zoom, it's just like, so has anyone had a similar experience and everyone just blank staring you via the camera, like, and I'm like, I'm trying to read it.
But that's why you can just always ask the question there. Or there's been moments too where we've had ahas. I've had an aha in the white person space, affinity space, where yeah, there's a lot of people trying to make space. So then there is a lot of silence. And then have we said this to our audience yet?
We said it last time.
We said it last time? Yeah, okay. I was like, I think we did say this already. Anyway. We're thinking more like what's to come? What are we thinking ahead at?
Yeah, we're having a little New Year's moment.
Little New Year's moment. Just what is to come? I think it's been interesting to just see how now I'm all self-conscious about my processing. I think we keep coming back here and sharing with y'all like the patterns that exist and the kind of the continued relearning of, and just continuing grounding in what we already know, and being able to like truly trust in what you were saying, our model and just approach that really it can be as easy as building people's communication skills. It really can be as quote unquote easy as allowing people to build up their emotional intelligence and push them to really understand what emotions and what is coming up in their body. And what you said this morning too, of just what's been really an easy in for a whole bunch of our organizations and businesses that we've worked with is the idea of culture. And just like reminding everybody that just because you grew up in a house that allowed dogs in the house, or that you always did such and such on Thanksgiving, or that you even celebrated Thanksgiving, that's not what everybody does. It's
not necessarily quote unquote normal.
No, and to even just break people out of that is...
Well, that's a perfect segue, because then you can be like, so if you grew up without dogs allowed on the couch, and others grew up with dogs allowed on the couch, like, what would you say if I said it's right, that's the right way to do it, for dogs to be on the couch? You would probably understand that, no, it's just the way we did it. So there's the segue to white dominant culture and white supremacy, because that is essentially just a culture that's happened with white people in the US that has been made to be the only right way. That's what people... I feel like a reflection I'm having is just how many different angles, ways we have now to talk about white supremacy, versus in the beginning of the year, I felt more confined to like, let's use Tim O'Coon's packet, like, let's just name these things. And now I'm like, oh, what kind of white people are you? I got a menu of options. Do y'all want the first taste? Do y'all want the advanced 3.0? Do you want an in between? Feels like we have a expanded toolkit.
Yep. And per usual, white folks usually are saying that they're 2.0, but they're not really. And that's okay. We find that out. But yeah, that's truly a piece of we have to do a couple of sessions just to feel you out a little bit, get a sense of where everybody's at. And there's a lot. I keep I'm finding that I need more time with white people. White people need more time.
Sometimes she kicks me out and she's like, I need time with my white friends. Is it racism? I think it is. I'm just kidding. She does not do that.
We need to cut that piece and put it in social media. Oh. That was funny. Your face and everything. That was a great delivery. Anyway.
So she doesn't kick me out, no. But yes, along that too, like, I have learned so much about working with other BIPOC, Black, Indigenous people and people of color. I feel like even BIPOC, the phrase, is interesting, right? Because that kind of has come to popularity this year, from what I've seen. It used to be more people of color. And I've explained why we use it in different videos, especially like centering Black and Indigenous identities, because they often get erased, misunderstood, blah, blah, blah. And what was I saying around that? BIPOC, so I see a lot it written and explained like Black, Indigenous, people of color without commas. And then when it's written with commas, it's Black, comma, Indigenous, comma, people of color. And so I feel very icky about that. I feel like if you write it out, make sure you say Black and Indigenous people and people of color, because otherwise you're just making Black and Indigenous a characteristic versus a people group. So just be careful of that one, because I've seen that a lot of people saying, putting it all into one, and it sounds like you're saying Black and Indigenous people of color, which is just Black and Indigenous people. Does that make sense? I hope we're getting it. Like, be careful with the new acronyms, because then it just becomes another umbrella. What was I saying? Something about how I've learned so much in being in these spaces. It's been such a privilege and honor to create these spaces of BIPOC only, and to learn alongside y'all, whoever's watching this. Like, Liberated has been beyond my wildest dreams of what it could be. And we're going to have our last session this Thursday. There's about 14 of us total, BIPOC. Such a diverse group. I think that happens much more when you make it very explicit that this is BIPOC only. We have Asian and Pacific Islander folks. We have multiracial folks. We have Black folks. We have Latinx folks. We have all different types of people, all different ages, genders, sexual orientation. It's fucking cool. And the way that they've band together across just 3 sessions, and now it's going to be our last, you could tell that there's a huge hunger for this kind of community. So that's definitely a big reflection and resolution to create more spaces for BIPOC folks to commune.
Yep. And along those lines.
And along
those long lines of long lines. You can tell we've been up early and have had multiple cups of coffee.
Along came Polly.
We bought all the plants. I bought all the plants.
I bought all the plants too. We went ham on that.
We're just showing up here, y'all, in all our glory. This is literally I think it's one of the first days I've worn makeup in this year, 2020.
You wore makeup for the photo shoot.
Did I? Okay, second day. I don't feel like I need my blue glasses. I can show you my actual eyes. Anyway, I digress. Community. I also agree, and a resolution or just a continued reminder and remembering is also for white folks, that space that but it's a different type of community. It's actually like a rebuilding of what community actually is, where we're going against perfectionism and and all the things that keep white folks, everybody, really inauthentic and in a space of just like robot, like I can't do it wrong and therefore I'm not going to say anything. But what if you are going to do it wrong anyway, but we can all be here and hold you in it and be in humility and truth together. So the community building feels like a continued question mark of how do we offer that more, not only through Groundwork and Liberated, but beyond that.
Yeah. And a space to make mistakes.
Yep.
That is something that I feel like I have at Building Bridges, because it's not just white folks who will make mistakes around racism, white supremacy, all that. I definitely have messed up recently too. And it sucks. And that's just talking about racism, right? Like when we really start to expand into other arenas of systemic oppression, like, have you misgendered someone recently? Have you done something that was ableist? Have you done something that was sexist because you wrote your own internalized sexism? There's so many different things, and it's not about policing each other. It's about having a continued dialogue of, are we truly being inclusive? Are we truly being equitable? And if not, what do we do about it? And if we mess up, how do we own it? How do I own it? How do I apologize? How do we move forward? Because we can't get stuck in the mistakes, otherwise we wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah. And we were talking about this morning too, around that of, it's been my own experience and journey in this, and also another piece to the community building is that element of helping folks be in that loving accountability space, that it's, yes, there's racism and sexism and ableism, and people play those out and say those things and do those things, and it fucking sucks. I scored.
I'm just kidding. I don't care. We swear all the time.
And it's harmful. It's killing people. And also the continued issue, especially when it comes to the white community, is that I want to separate myself from those other bad white, like it's this overt racism, it's this overt stuff that, and I don't do it, so I'm going to be separate. But how do I continue to lean into that, figuring out what's my capacity and my boundaries in this, and also still go do some of those harder things of like trying to talk to an uncle or or whatever. Like the core of it is that as humans, we are looking to belong. We are looking to be in community. We are looking to be seen and heard and just be in our humanity. And not everyone says it right, and not everyone does it right. And how do we be okay with that in some regards?
Yeah. I always hear the uncle example.
I feel like it's such a big,
Who are these uncles?
Who are these uncles? Well, they're all in the Midwest or Florida.
Yeah. I think I even said that in one of our posts.
Did you?
Well, we're here for your sisters, your friends, your uncles. We always say the uncles.
We always say it. We're gonna have to
If
try
you're
and
an
figure that.
uncle, can you comment, please, and let us know who you are
Call
and
out the aunties.
who are your peers. Because apparently there's a lot of you that we need to reach.
There's a lot of
Yeah. Looking into this next year, 2021, seems like there's going to be a lot of continued online dialogues that we're in. The DEI landscape is a lot different than 2020, the beginning of 2020, right? It's one of the most sought after trainings and consultancies, if that's a word, out there now. And yeah, like what are our resolutions in terms of showing up this year around that?
For me, it's mostly stay the course. It's mostly, the way that this all played out for us specifically was in itself just this little kind of random COVID miracle of we were forced to consider what it would look like to be online. We had nothing to lose but to try something, and we as Jenny alluded to, we created it in our pajamas, and then it happened to be that at the point that we had piloted and really planned and really like had sought out what is possible for us to do, was then the resurgence in the summer that just became all of a sudden that you all saw it, and I think a lot of you experienced like just this collective like freak out. And now that we're seeing the predictable pattern of that freak out calm down a little bit, what is it to continue to sustain and take a next right step, and to continue to build community, and to continue to look at that this isn't just you just start reading books and then and be in a book club and that be great. Like, what is it to really long term? Yeah, it's not intellectual, that it is building community, it is building conflict transformation, communication skills, it's working on your own healing within your body, within your own deconditioning and understanding of yourself and who you are in this world. It is building up your knowledge, especially around historical context. I think what it feels really relevant to me is just because we're switching administrations doesn't mean that the work isn't, or that the work is done. That we have to be even more diligent, even more loud, even more out on the streets, even more standing up for this could be different, and how can we continue to be in conversation around that? And so how do we just deepen and sustain all this work within myself, but also to continue to support others in that.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good resolution. Yeah, I feel like we have created some quality programming, some quality training, some quality workshops, because we're integrating the skills that we've learned, the skills that I've practiced now for 3 years via building bridges. We're integrating that into spaces with adults. And adults are tricky because they're stubborn. They think they know it all. Many of them, I should say. But we're learning
there's so many who are willing to go there.
There's so many who are willing, and we're learning those predictable patterns that we can prepare for. Mm-hmm. It's not the end of the world when someone shuts you down. It's not the end of the world when someone says, well, what about whatever? I can't think of anything right now, but we've had so many predictable patterns come up again and again. So my hope is that this year we're ready to expand efforts, expand our reach, because people are being impacted, positively impacted by this work. And yeah, I don't feel like it's necessarily my skill set, my greatness, or anything like that. I feel like it's the approach, the model.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah, getting shared. And it's the people. Like when you come to a training with us, or if you've been to one of our trainings, I hope you can experience how much it is the group of people that make the experience and how much you show up.
And how questions can be so powerful. Just like the stance of just inquiry and curiosity, and I don't know, it's actually, there's just very simple things to integrate. And we're seeing some of our organizations where there's a group of folks who are like really leaning into it, and it's pretty wild to like see them live in it. It's about how you are together and what can you continue to do to navigate with each other.
And providing yourself, providing people with time, space, breathability.
Yeah.
2 hours from like some people may think 2 hours for our sessions, like groundwork, that's a lot of time online. It really flies by if you structure it, and if you show people right away that your habit is one of taking your time and focusing on people. Because if I have a 2-hour session, in the midst of a dialogue, I can ask follow-up questions to someone. I could be like, so group, how have you experienced racial equity? And Marin says, well, my uncle is racist. If I didn't have 2 hours, I would be like, great, and, which typically happens. But in our sessions, like, oh, Marin, can you expand on that? What do you mean by racist? And what do you mean by uncle? What do you mean by racist? And why is it always uncles? Something like that. And she would be like, well, when I was 3, and like open up a space, and it's just so many doorways. Each person is a doorway to more conversation.
I don't know why that feels so beautiful, but it's true. We're so complex.
Yeah.
And we just have no idea what anybody's going through, and if you're like allow yourself to open to it, it's so beautiful.
I need to hop off of this.
Yes. Oh shoot.
Yes, but
okay.
Thank you, y'all.
You know what we do. We're here.
It's long-winded Wednesday.
It's long-winded Wednesday. Anything you want to talk about, put it in the comments. Let us know.
See you next week.
We'll just keep showing up.
I'll see you next week, toots.